on right now. We got a nice halftime report for you guys, I guess we can say right now. For everybody checking in. Philip Dukes. Oh, now what's happening with you, man?
Chico, what's going on, big dog? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Good to see you once again. As you
Yes,
can look
sir.
up and see you on a lot of different platforms nowadays. Shout out to Well Off Media, TPSN, and DNVR. You know what I mean? Where you
Right.
checking in from right now?
I'm in the city. I'm in Atlanta, man. I'm on the other side of town.
Okay. Shout out to
Sir.
the ATL, man. What you seeing right now? I know you've been watching a lot of college football. I've been a lot of games on today. What you're seeing right now? What's your takeaways from the ball game?
I think like right now, as far as with the Colorado game, I just think the defense has to stand up. Like right now, the way they're rushing the ball, Kansas is running the ball is basically kind of demoralizing, right?
Mhm.
It takes you out of some things that you would like to do when it comes to uh, playing with more safeties and more defensive backs, where you can keep that spy on the quarterback. But right now, you just you gotta stop Neal. The way that he's being able to get to the second level right now, Colorado does have safeties that tackle, but he needs to be getting hit by linebackers and linemen. And
Right.
at this point, he's running through arm tackles. So, like we always say, like like you cannot let your feet go dead. You got to break down, wrap up. You got to drive your feet. And I think that's one of the things that we haven't seen a running back like this. Now we've seen some good running backs, but I haven't seen a running back run as hard as Neal in the Big 12 this year. So I think
Yeah.
the way that he's running, it's his scene. He's a veteran running back. Um, Excited for his last game, his last home game. So I
Mhm.
just think that Colorado has to bow up. I don't know if that's bringing in an extra defensive lineman, sometimes going with a five-man front just to see what happens. Right, just start to mix it up. I don't want to see Keaton Wade at middle linebacker again. I know that was something that we saw like a wrinkle, but we saw when they exposed him in open field and in
Right.
open space. So I just think there are some wrinkles. And one thing I do know about Robert Livingston is he's a guy who's really good at making adjustments. I think when you come out, you'll see more of a heavy front. You may see three guys, you may see three defensive tackles and one edge rusher just to make sure that you stop. I think it'll be hard to go five man on the defensive line, but I think you could see a safety drop down in the box and see more of an 8-man.
So you saying, all right, so we're going to probably switch up that front a little bit because what I've been seeing, we see BJ Green, we're seeing Okunlola, then you see two defensive tackles, whether that's Barnes, Chidozie Nwankwo, Tawfiq Thomas, and Amari McNeil. So I think switching out Okunlola or BJ Green and bringing in another one of those guys who I just named, let three of them play together as
Right.
a tandem, and going against this big, heavy uh, senior, veteran offensive line also running behind or leading the holes for Neal, who's running very hard behind them. I think, yeah, do need to get beefier up front. I think the linebackers are going to be key, though, with Coach
Mhm.
Hilo, who makes a lot of adjustments, who's working with the linebackers himself and Coach Hart. We're going to have to be filling these gaps a lot more than what we're doing. I've seen Nakai Hill Green hit a gap, the wrong gap, as the linebacker breaks to the outside. I've seen Levante Bentley not get over the top when he was supposed to. So we're going to have to find a way to make those adjustments, which we have done a great job at um, uh, in this second half. I'll say this, though. For my game predictions, I put that they will have 24 points total in this ball game. However they get them, whether it's second half, first half, or all together at once. They have 20 right now, basically. What did they score? Did they get 23? It's 23 right now, 23-14 right now. Can we shut them out in the second half? And can we get back to being the Colorado of old on offense to put up points in the second half to outscore them at least?
Yeah, I think Colorado. I think the offense is rolling now. I think that you're starting to see some tendencies that we've seen in the past when it comes to. I think the last throw by Shadur we saw on the touchdown to Miller was was so crazy based on the fact of how he layered the throw. That was a 1,000% pro throw. And now that you burn them one time with Travis Hunter, they're going to keep rolling coverage over to that side. You're going to create one-on-one opportunities for for the other wide receivers, and when you've got a trigger man like Shadur, you're going to hit those. So I
Yeah.
think as long as they continue to do that, that'll be fine. But I just think defensively, like you said, they can pitch a shutout. And I think when you have to show them something that they haven't seen, it's almost like Floyd Mayweather. The first round or the first 2 or 3 rounds in boxing, he's basically downloading information. And it says,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, it looks like he may be losing on the cards. But once he understands and once he sees your length and he sees how your reach, so to speak, Now we know what Kansas's reach is. We know what they want to do. We know that the goal is to spread you out and get upfield. We know that we want to run the ball between the tackles. We know that on the RPO, you need to hit you got to hit the running back every time. Take your
Mhm.
chances with the quarterback, leave a spot on him and hit. Make sure that Neil gets hit. Don't guess. And I think that's really important is that sometimes that they're saying, you know what, we'll leave the line. If you look on some of those runs, the offensive linemen are going to the second level, but they're freezing the end. So now at this point, you got to have that end be more active. Whether it's Wade,
Yeah.
whoever, whether it's BJ, whoever's at that end, you got to be active, and you cannot have a time where a defensive lineman is not smacking somebody. And I think that's what has to happen in the second half. And I think for that shutout to happen, you have to get more active on the edge and making sure that you're setting the edge and turning things back towards your help.
Yes. Score right now 23-14 for everybody who's just checking in. I got my main man, Philip Dukes, right here, DNVR, the pregame show, and Well Off Media checking in right now. So they're not talking about the game right now. They're talking about Ohio State defeating Indiana 38-15. Any other major scores or college football upsets or finishes today that you want to give us an update on that
Ole
stood out to
Miss,
you?
Ole Miss loses to Florida. Florida has new hope under the freshman quarterback DJ Lagway. They have a really good freshman running back Jaden Ball. Florida is getting very active on the recruiting trail. I think this was a big win, and now you're seeing some of the people who are ready for quote unquote Sun Belt Billy to get out of Florida. Now, when you have this is a signature win for Florida, and they can build on that. So I thought that was a really big win, and it's a defunct playoff knockout machine for Ole Miss. So now you have now you have your first team who was in it with 3 losses in the SEC. So now it's going to spark a lot of conversation as far as what is the seeding like for the SEC teams? How does this affect the playoff as a whole when Colorado comes back and as Colorado continues to come back? Yeah, I think it's gonna be real interesting to see because now you have another spot open up in the playoffs. So now the seeding looks a little bit different if
Yeah.
Colorado, and I think they will. I think as when they finish the drill, now you'll have more conversation about that final playoff spot.
Yeah, exactly. And for everybody out there that don't know, just because you're ranked in the top 12 doesn't guarantee you that playoff spot. So,
Right.
we have to continue to do our thing. Hey, I know you're watching the game and you saw the hit on Shadur Sanders, man. What did you think about that lick, man? That's probably going viral on the internet right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's unfortunate. You don't want to see a guy like that take those type of shots, but I think that's something it's something that you can band a team around. That's something I'm playing right now in the locker room. I'm
There
telling
you
the
go.
offense, I'm showing everybody this defense, offense, the whole team. This is our guy. He's brought us this far. You got to make them pay. They cannot feel like this is okay. They've
Yep.
got to feel this the same way that he did, and I think that's what's going to be important. Right now, I wouldn't want to be in that locker room. I know Coach Prime is going crazy. So I think you'll see. I know it. Like this is the first time they were commenting on the broadcast saying that was the first time they saw him get after the defense the way that he did. This is not a typical Colorado defense. They've been allowing the game to come to them. Even Shiloh on that last tackle, he's been doing so well tackling throughout after the Kansas State game, getting low, bringing his arms, and he went so high on that tackle and went for a ride. I don't think
Yeah.
you see that again. I think now you got to get back to the fundamentals. You got to play basic football and complementary football. And right now, the offense is starting to pick it up. You just haven't seen that spark from the defense. And I think as they get in, they start looking at the film and saying, "Man, this." They can look at a picture and say that doesn't look like me.
That's not
That
us. That's
that
not what we
defense
do.
that you just saw is about the same. Is reminiscent of the Wayne Wade statue in front of the stadium. It don't look like him at all. It's the same thing. That's the defense that we're watching. This is not the same thing that we're
It
used
was
to from
art.
Colorado.
They said it
Yeah,
was art. It was an artistic
yeah,
view
man. That,
of
that thing was a gargoyle.
that ain't Dwayne Wade.
Know
But
who that guy is?
I'll say this, man. They have to take on that challenge though, defensive wise. You got to say that we're gonna hit this guy. We got to hit him in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, he's having confidence. He's
Right,
taking those little wrap ups and falling down like, oh, this is what you coming with? We got to
right.
hit him in the mouth.
Yeah.
Um, man, I played a game overseas. We were at home. This was the semifinal to play in the Austrian Bowl when I played in Austria,
Okay.
and each team has like two imports, American players they can have on the field at the same time. Usually a
Okay.
team will have 4 American imports, right? They
Mm-hmm.
had a running back on this team we were playing, and somehow he said in the newspaper they were going to run the football on us. Me, myself, I played both ways there, but I was mainly there for offense. But I would
Okay.
come there and rush the passer, defensive side, get some sacks.
Okay.
I hear them say they're going to run the ball on us, dog. I say, no, not today, dog. I'm playing more defense today because that's an attitude that you have to bring, and you have to transfer that to your other defensive players.
Right.
If they don't have the attitude of stopping and run and wanting to hit somebody in the mouth and taking that as a challenge personally,
Right.
then you'll see that type of result, 200 yards in the first half.
Right.
This second half, I guarantee you right now, they're in that locker room getting challenged by guys like Warren Sapp, D. Lou, Vincent Dancy, the whole defensive staff, and saying, this is not us, and we're not going to let nobody just big boy us right now. You know what big boying is. Hell.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, man. And yeah, the two little and then this is the thing too, man. This is one of those things, and I love to say it, man. This is another classic case of right plan, wrong man. But it's up to you to show them that it's the wrong man, because right now they have the confidence, they have the momentum, and they feel like they're breaking your spirit. If it wasn't for those drives by the offense, this would be a broken team right now because the defense can't seem to get it. So now the offense has to issue a challenge to the defense. And I want Shadur, and I'm sure Shadur is taking control of this of the team as a whole and saying, look, y'all get us some stops, we're gonna beat the hell out of them. Because I don't think that defense can't stop. They cannot stop that offense. So I think as long as they continue to get stops, and if they can start, like now you're starting to bend but not break, you're allowing field goals. A touchdown there would have been crucial. So I do have to give kudos to the defense for not giving up a touchdown there, because that would have been crucial. So now you're only in a 9-point game, I believe. 20, yeah, you got a 9-point game. You come out, you get a touchdown, you get some momentum. Now you're starting to see the real Colorado, and you start to break their spirit.
Right. When the game was 17 or 20-7, right? Actually, it was 17-7, and we held them, and they got the field goal. I said right there, that's a big win, because that's just a 2-possession ball game, and we get the ball at the second half. We can go down here and score, which we did. Bam! It was 14-20 now, but we had to stop them. They came down. They were able to get 3 points. We did a good job bowling up inside the 10 to hold them to 3. I said before the ball game they'll get 24 points because they're at home. They're riled up. This is their last game for the seniors. So I figure they'll be adrenaline is through the roof right now. Can they sustain that in this second half?
Right.
If they come out and get punched in the mouth, if they come out and get scored on this first drive, first of all.
Yeah,
so
man.
Coach Prime probably did go off on the team, but I guarantee he said, now since I gave y'all that, calm down for a minute, go to your position coaches, get your assignments, get your corrections, and we're going to come out the second half and beat the brakes off these boys.
And I do want to give a shout out to Livingston on that last call where they tried to throw the fade ball at Travis, the one-on-one to the outside. Having Wester in the flat was so key. It was almost like a zone man call where you took away the underneath and you were playing man on the outside. I think if you start to if you go ahead and take advantage of your corners being able to play man to man on the outside, you could drop a spot, leave a safety high, and then bring extra run support. Leave one safety high, bring one into the box. Bring. I don't care who it is. Bring somebody who can tackle in space. Let him say, Daniels is your guy. You have to contain him. Once you do that, and allow everybody else to help. And I think what Kansas is doing a good job of is they got so much eye candy, so much window dressing. They're moving tight ends from outside to inside the box. They've got big wide. They've used some of their bigger wide receivers to support to help support the run blocking. So I think now that you say, man, let them play man on them, and then when you do, make sure that you have guys that are assigned to that quarterback. I think even though you got Neal, he's having a great game. I think that the threat of Daniels is what's making people take a step back and say, okay, they're playing a step slow. They're waiting on a hit instead of delivering it. Now you got to go and deliver the blow. You're waiting on people to run into you. They're not hitting Neal, they're catching Neal. And even though in football, if you're the person to let somebody run in your chest, you're going to feel that later on that night, and it's not going to be it's not going to work out well for you during the game. So I think that's most important. Now you got to be the hammer and not the nail.
There you go.